Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Desmond Thorne. I'm a programmer for NewFest. Thank you for watching the amazing shorts program, Beautiful Boys, Beautiful Journeys. I know you just saw See You Soon, and you're probably crying, so go and get a tissue and get ready to watch the Q&A. I am here with some of the filmmakers and one of the actors from the shorts that you have just seen. So I'm going to do a little round robin and have you introduce yourselves real quick. Starting with Alfie, and go. Say the name of the film that you're in and who you are.
Hi, I'm in adolescence. I'm Alfie Noble.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Zeb, and I'm the director of the short film Adolescence.
Perfect.
Hey, my name's Tyler Rabinowitz, and I'm the writer and director of See You Soon.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jovan James, co-writer and co-director of Buck.
Hi, I'm Livia, and I'm the director of Who Can Predict What Will Move You.
Hi, I'm Elegance Braddon. I am the co-writer and co-director of Buck as well.
Yes. So we don't have a lot of time, and I would love to ask you all super specific questions, and I will ask you some more like kind of general questions near the end. But in substitute for that, I will give your films very specific praise that I will shower them with. So first, Adolescence. This film is gorgeously shot. It is such a beautiful time capsule period piece. I love queer period pieces and I want to see more of them. It's meticulously detailed in design, and the simplicity of the phrase, I know, and how much that can mean to all of us is very impactful. And it has the perfect amount of sexual tension. OMG, when the rest of you filmmakers see it, you'll know exactly what I mean. Who can predict what will move you? Livia, this film is absolutely gorgeous. I love the poetic filmmaking. I love the simplicity and the tenderness. The lighting and the movement say so much without like feeding the audience all of these lines. I just get so much from it every time I see it. And I love John Juan, aka Kiko Soiree. They are everything. So it's so great to see them in this film. Buck. This film is so brilliant and impactful. I love the exploration of mental health and coping mechanisms in the Black queer community, and also this intergenerational support that's found, and this idea of like finding a guide and how important that is for all of us. Also, the weight of the word buck specifically and how that holds in our community is just like, it just is so good and so impactful. And I appreciate the sense of hope at the end. I really, really, really loved that. See You Soon, the one that just made you cry at the end of the program. I love the before sunset and weekend vibes here. I'm sure you've gotten that a lot so far. Very beautiful filmmaking and just natural performances. It shows off New York City so well in a way that made me miss aspects of it pre-COVID. And it's not only showing this kind of cute relationship and these very, very cute boys, but there's also some very, very real and important discourse about relationships in here. And I very, very much appreciate that. So thank you all for making wonderful and beautiful and amazing films that I could program in this program. So some questions for you all. And we can kind of go in the same order, going from like Zeb to Tyler, Jovan, Livia, Elegance. What was the genesis or the kind of seed that inspired your projects?
For me, it was, well, I went to a bookstore in Paris. When I'm there, I always go there. It's a very tiny bookstore. And I found this book, and it was from the 40s, 50s photography from teenagers on a beach. And yeah, it was a beautiful book. And there was this one photograph in there. And for me, it told like a beautiful story. And that's where it started for me. I'm a photographer, so I always start my ideas for film with an image. And yeah, I start creating personalities and characters for that. So that's how it came about, actually. And then I put a little bit of my own growing up, experience into the story as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's so interesting that you say that, because watching your film, it does feel like you're going through like this beautiful photo album from the past, and it's so good. And Alfie is so good in it. You're so great. You're such a star. So it's so good to see you like coming up. Tyler, what about for See You Soon?
See You Soon was born out of a personal experience I had, and really from the sort of the overwhelming emotions I felt after having a weekend like this, like going from URL to IRL and kind of like feeling not understanding why I couldn't stop like getting like misty eyed, even just like thinking of it. Like I was just like a mess. And I think I realized that it was because I was experiencing sort of this whirlwind fantasy of a romance that I grew up thinking I would never experience. And then when I had that, I didn't want that joy to be taken away from me. And I was so scared of like what was going to happen in the future, but also so relieved that it had happened. And so it was just that sort of overwhelming feeling that I just wanted to somehow crystallize into a film. And I had to make it. It was just like, you know, one of those personal things you just have to process through your craft.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Jovan and Elegance, what about the seed that inspired Buck?
So, you know, for me, this started as me wanting to explore the ideas and feelings of loneliness and depression in the Black gay male community, but these were also things that I was experiencing personally, and I wanted to, you know, show a character who you sort of felt on the outside of everything, and you know how you cope in a world like that where, you know, there's a lot of you know, a lot of it is internalized, and how do we end up in that condition, and who do we turn to you know, alleviate that or feel any kind of comfort or love. And I'll let Elegance take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that was really important to me. I think this is a kind of, you know, complicated question, but I think at the end of it, I was inspired by the friendship that I share with Jovan and our producer, Chester Gordon. You know, it's all about this idea that within our kind of Black gay community, there is the possibility of rehabilitation and shared strength. And I don't feel like that message has been seen enough.
Absolutely.
So when Jovan brought this story, I just felt like, wow, like it's a chance to kind of put into the screen what we share as friends, and in hopes that it shows the world what we're capable of. And you know, we hear a lot of Black Lives Matter, you know, but we don't necessarily think about why. We matter because we need each other to exist.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's beautiful. And that definitely comes through very, very well in the short. So good. And Livia, what about Who Can Predict What Will Move You? What was the inspiration for that?
Yeah, so I had actually done a previous, like just like an exercise exploring movement and filming the exchange of like energy and like between like bodies and motion inspired by Beau Travail. And then I really liked that exercise so much, I wanted to expand it to follow what happens to these boys like later in the night. And from that, I drew from experiences growing up where you're not really sure why a relationship is so meaningful or so complicated. And it only kind of becomes clear in retrospect that you were figuring out like what's you and like what you're projecting and what you need from other people.
Oh, that's beautiful. And yes, Claire Denis, shout out. We live for Claire. So good. And I will say that, you know, this year we do have 2 shorts in this program directed by women, and I was like, yes, that's amazing, because in these boy shorts programs, like I said, you know, my goal in crafting this program this year and last year was to show that just because we're homosexuals does not mean that our experience is homogenous, and therefore it should look like that behind the camera as well. So again, thank you for creating this beautiful piece that we could put in the program. So I'm wondering from y'all, you know, what are you working on next, and how has the pandemic like impacted the way that you're thinking about filmmaking now? Let's go in the same order just to keep it super simple. Alfie, you too, as an actor, like, has it changed the way that you approach any projects?
Yeah, for me, I'm literally just, I can't wait to get working again. That's the main thing. It's I'm just looking to find people that want to create something. I think that's the important thing. You've got to stick close with your friends and just, talk to people and say, let's create something, let's put something out there, whilst we can. Got to
Absolutely
make the most of the time.
Absolutely. What about you, Zeb?
Well, I had time to start writing again on something else. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. But I also felt like when we were in the lockdown, at some point you also got a bit like, I didn't feel like doing anything really. I don't know why that was, but I feel I can create better when I'm doing all kinds of things. I don't know, it works better for me. But yeah, I'm grateful that things have started again here in Belgium and I'm working again. And yeah, so I'm also writing again on something new, but it's very still in the beginning. So, and,
No, you're
English, by the way.
I'm actually just jealous that you're in a place where things are moving forward with the pandemic. So, good on you. I don't know what that feels like.
I'm like,
And Tyler, how about you?
Yeah, I think that I've come to learn that, or come to understand that as short filmmakers, we are kind of built for this in the sense that we're always working through incredibly impossible parameters and pushing boulders up a hill that with very little support, and so I think right now what I'm doing is I'm looking around and I'm realizing that for myself, I probably am not going to be on a set for a while. I was working on a first feature, like developing it. I still am working on developing it, but really taking this time to give it that extra love when it comes to the screenplay as I can, and just making the most of this time. And, I feel like often I would put pressure on myself to hit certain deadlines as a writer. It has to be done by this date so it can hit this festival. And now that things have shifted, I think the work will be stronger, that I've given more time to this process. And in the meantime, trying to look ahead to what other mediums can I bring my storytelling to, so working with some folks right now and possibly turning to animation and trying to develop something on that end, things that can be done in sort of a pandemic-proof way while still exercising that itch, that desire to tell stories, to tell queer stories.
Absolutely. Like, as soon as this happened, I was like, animators, y'all about to be eaten, because we're all about to go and try to do some animation, because, it's such a good medium, as you said, during the pandemic.
Which I'm excited for too. Yeah. Just like, because like animation always gets pigeonholed as being this certain thing, and I feel like now it's a chance to really show all that animation can do.
Absolutely.
But anyways,
and expand that. Absolutely. Javon, how about you?
Yeah, so this has been a time of like a lot of adapting for me. I was working in LA as like an intern at Bad Robot, and so when COVID happened, a lot of people kind of moved out of LA, so I went back to Baltimore. I'm still working remotely, thankfully, so I'm able to still have some proximity to the business, but also having that time at home. Also, we're Elegance and I are developing Buck into a TV show.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that feels that's like a new thing that we're doing, and so we're just working hard on that. So once we're able to get back on set, we're ready. We don't know what the future holds, but we're just trying to do the work now and hope for the best. But we definitely have a lot of ideas, so we're just trying to come out of this looking the best we can, do what we can control.
Absolutely. And how about you, Livia?
Can I talk?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was gonna go to you next, but you go on ahead, Elegance. Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't feel right talking if I don't follow Jovan.
No, totally.
Yeah, I'm actually on set right now, sort of. I'm in Parkland, Florida, finishing off a documentary about the Harlem Hellfighters. They're the first regiment of black troops to fight in a world war on behalf of the United States. And their leader, James Reese Europe, was the most prolific composer of music of the 20th century. He also invented jazz. He was the first black man to play at Carnegie Hall.
Whoa.
So I'm in Florida right now to meet with his 75-year-old grandson and James Reese Europe's best friend's 91-year-old son to talk about the legacy of their iconic fathers. And the whole idea is to raise James Reese Europe up into that status of a civil rights icon that I think he deserves. And additionally, I'm in pre-production on my first feature, The Inspection, which I'm making with Effie Brown and my partner. Yeah, so
yes. I'm looking forward to all of that and everything that comes from like your camp with like you, Javon, Chester, Terrence, all y'all. Like I'm so looking forward to everything that y'all do.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Livia.
Yeah, so I'm finishing post-production on another short about two queer women called No Pleasure, although maybe I'll reverse it and call it All Pleasure. And I'm also, which is more the vibe. And then I'm also writing a feature called Our Triumphant Future, which is coming of age tale.
Yes, amazing. Oh, I'm so glad that y'all are working on stuff. And I'm so excited to see what y'all do in the future. Thank you again so much for joining me today. And I'm looking forward to just like spreading your work all around and having everyone see it. So thank you so much again and have a lovely day, y'all.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank you
NewFest.
so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Desmond.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Hi. Welcome to part 2 of the conversation for the Shorts program. Beautiful Boys, Beautiful Journeys. I'm here with more filmmakers of the rest of the shorts in the program. So I'm going to have them all introduce themselves to you, starting with Nora.
Hi everyone, my name is Nora Sager. I'm a filmmaker in Sweden. My parents are from Iraq. I was born in Bulgaria, but I've grown up in Sweden, so that's where I am. And I've made the movie 1-1.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Roma. I'm the filmmaker behind The Dick Appointment.
Hi, I'm Sophie Kargman. I'm director and co-writer of Query.
Hi, I'm Noah Seamus. I'm director and co-writer of Kind of.
Awesome. So, since there are so many filmmakers involved, I would love to just have like a 30-minute kiki with all of you and ask you like super specific questions about your shorts. But because we can't do that, I will shower your films with some very specific praise. 1-1, I think this film is so much fun. I love seeing queer, Arab, Middle Eastern representation and it being very joyful as well. I think the design is amazing with the lighting, the production design. That apartment feels like it's its own little wonderland, and the costumes are so much fun. And I love not knowing exactly what the title means until the very end. It just like adds to the comedy and the fun of the piece. So congratulations, it's so great. The Dick Appointment. I love the fun and inventive nature of this short. And it's the very timely exploration of digital relations and entanglements, I will say. And I love that you talk about this myth that two bottoms can't have a meaningful connection. I think that's something that happens a lot in our community. And it's like, yes, it's possible. We can still have meaningful relationships no matter what our positions are. And I also love this little bit that you have in there that explores a little toxic masculinity, which I think is always ripe for exploration. Query, I love this exploration of bisexuality, which is something you don't really see a whole lot still. I love the kind of off the cuff and natural feeling that you found with these actors. I love the cuts. The editing is so good. It just feels very seamless and the piece just moves so well. I was watching this short and I was like, wait, is that Army Hammer like running up on them? I just thought that was so funny and like what a great, great cameo. And I feel like we've all had some version of this conversation, so it just felt so real, you know? I just love it so, so much. And kind of something that I really wanted to do with boy shorts every year is kind of change people's expectations of this program. I think oftentimes with these boy shorts programs, you do see a lot of just like cis white dudes just like having a ball, doing their thing. And I was so happy to see your short, Noah. I think it's such a beautiful exploration of trans masculinity in a relationship. And I've never seen this conversation before. And it was so absolutely refreshing. It feels like a scene from a play in the best way possible, being that the dialogue is super tight, super well written, and the ebbs and flows of the scene are just so natural. And I want an invitation to that brunch. That is the most like lit looking brunch that I've ever seen. And it includes the Pigs in the Blanket, which are also some of my favorites. So again, thank you for making this short. And I just love being able to put underrepresented voices in a program like this. So thank you so much to all of you. So some questions for all of you. What was the genesis or kind of like the seed that inspired these projects? Let's start with 1-1.
Well, let me think. I mean, I wanted to do a cute little short film about two guys meeting and having like a very romantic first date, and just capture that playfulness when there's like a lot of attraction and you're just like playing with each other back and forth. And yeah, so that's like the core of it. But the inspiration is actually taken from my own life. I've done this prank on a date for real once.
That's amazing.
Quite a lot of crazy stuff while dating. Basically just to like test the guys and try them out. Are you like gonna be able to keep up with me? Because it's gonna be a wild ride. And yeah.
I love that. That's so much fun. How about you, Mike? What was the seed that inspired the dick appointment?
Oh man, what a loaded question, right? With a short like this. Definitely based off of, mine and my friends' experiences using apps. App culture is obviously really big with our community. It's some people's first toes in the water with hookups, dating, relationships, friendships sometimes even. But I felt like a lot of the media that I saw that attempted or did captured it in a way that didn't necessarily feel quite as intense and visceral as it feels. So if you're just on your phone texting someone, trying to get it in on a random Wednesday, Tuesday night, there's a lot of things that are going on the screen. You can't really depict that on a film because it's not very interesting to look at a cell phone. Also, I apologize. My mom's dogs are just popping off behind me.
No, it's okay. We love dogs.
During core, yeah. Hey, men who love dogs, go figure.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I just wanted to capture how insane app culture can be, and limiting myself to one location during this short film while still having all these crazy characters come in. I thought that would be a really fun concept for a short.
Absolutely, and it is a lot of fun. How about you, Sophie?
So mine actually started as a conversation about the sort of the Gen Z culture and how it's sort of more open and more sort of, I think that the Gen Z culture challenges preconceived notions about sexuality in a way that sort of other generations prior have not. And so I thought that was really interesting. I think it sort of was inspired by actually a situation that happened to a friend of mine. And also I thought, what story can I tell that is not a lot of money? It was sort of built out of the restrictions that come with like making a short. And you want to do, you want to make it have extremely, you want the production value to look amazing. You want the filmmaking, you want the cuts, so I love it that you mentioned, I was very kind, like that you guys look great, but if you don't have a massive budget, you're like, well, what can I tell that won't require, cranes and, huge budget, like, you sort of build the story around the restrictions, which is what I did. And I was like, well, so what story can I tell? Two people in a room or over the course, one location over the course of the day, less than 10 minutes. And sort of was built from that. My writing partner, Ryan, wrote the first draft in 20 minutes. And then I sort of tinkered with it and sort of massaged it. And then oddly enough, 2 weeks later, we were shooting. And 2 weeks after that, we were locked. So like from sort of inception to picture lock, it was like, it was cool.
Amazing.
It was a great exercise and sort of really specific. Yeah, I was very lucky. I got one day with my actors to do a rehearsal, and we went through the space. I got to sort of hear the language, out of their mouths, and I sort of tweaked it a little bit. And this is a testament to them. 99.9% of what you saw was scripted. So
that's
just show, like,
that's amazing.
They're such good actors. So I was very very lucky.
And it does have that kind of improvised feel to it in a way, because you are following this conversation throughout the day, and they're so natural. They're so talented. And that's also a testament to your writing, because like the writing has to also feel natural, it's got to be like the foundation for everything. All right.
It's cool to have friends, to write for friends.
Yes,
and then
absolutely.
You can sort of tweak for them.
Absolutely, because you can hear them as you're at the keyboard. It's the best. And Noah, how about you?
For the kind of the genesis was that I have a lot of friends and I'm in a relationship with another trans person, and there are a lot of like conversations about what it means to be T for T, trans for trans, and ideas about desirability and masculinity. And I'd been having a lot of conversations with friends about that. And I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if two people had a fight about this?
Right.
And it sort of sprang forth from all these conversations I'd had over, with friends socially and with my partner. And then these characters kind of sprang forth from there.
Oh, that's amazing. And it's so good. So good. Just one last closing thing that I want to ask everyone before we close out as quick as possible. Are there any other queer film projects that inspired this project? They can be queer preferably, but if they're not, that's totally cool. Norris?
If another film inspired this film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not that I can think of, like, straight from my, because it's like everything I do is like taken straight from my life.
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, I love other people's work, but like everything I do is just like coming straight from last Tuesday,
Oh, word. Great. Well, you're on your way to creating your own brand of filmmaking, You will inspire someone else's filmmaking. So that's a good thing. And Mike, how about you?
I'd say Looking or Insecure, Girls, any show about these, 20-somethings looking for love, Sex in the City. Those are some of my favorite shows, and that's definitely something that I would love to be able to make from a different kind of perspective, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how about you, Sophie?
So queer actually sprung from the fact that I hadn't ever seen two sort of bro-y type dudes talk about something, in this sort of thoughtful, articulate emotionally evolved way, you just don't see these conversations happening on screen, or at least I hadn't. And I thought, well, that's crazy. So that's sort of the impetus for Fury sort of sprung from the fact that I hadn't seen it and I wanted to see it.
Absolutely. And I love that, creating something because you have not seen it. And that's how we continue to move forward in this medium. Noah, how about you?
It's not queer, but a huge inspiration for the dialogue was actually The Apartment. So maybe we're queering Billy Wilder. I don't know.
Yes, I live for it. I'm living for it. That's amazing. Well, it was so great talking to you all today. I'm so excited for everyone to see your films and to see more of your work. And thank you for creating this beautiful work for this beautiful program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, NewFest. Thank you guys for setting this up.
And if you are interested in finding out about 120 plus films that we have in the festival this year, go on over to newfest.org, where you can also find out about our year-round programming. Thank you so much for joining, and see y'all soon. Yes, stay tuned for part 2 of this Q&A.